I am not spending hours creating new documents to send to them. I am clear and confident on the information that I am sending to the client. I am able to do it in a timely manner, which means it's not taking up, headspace going, I've got to get back to those people or I've got to do that. This is the first time that you're interacting with these people, and being able to have confidence in the systems that you have, confidence in the documents that you have. You are already showing these potential clients that you are an authority in the space. You are going to bring value to their project, and you are a person that will make their life easier. Welcome to the Design Dialogues, the podcast where we dive deep into the business of interior design. I'm Beth, the founder of More Time to Design and a designer with over 13 years of experience. I'm here to help you navigate the challenges of running a successful studio, whether you're a solo designer or leading a team. Each week, I chat with industry experts and share practical insights to help you streamline your processes, grow your business, and create a studio that thrives. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy our Design Dialogues. Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Tuesday episode of the Design Dialogues podcast. And it is a solo with Beth episode this Tuesday. Today I wanted to tell you a bit of a story about a fee proposal that I have put out recently. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this process of when an inquiry comes in, and how if you don't have strong processes in place, it can be such a time drain, such an energy drain, and it really doesn't need to be. And this story for me highlights so many things that I have spoken about on the podcast for the last few months around clear and strong processes when it comes to your inquiry process and how you move a client from inquiry through to signed contract. But it also brings in the points I've been talking about having those strong B2B referral relationships, building those relationships with your architects, your real estate agents, your buyers agents, your developers, those people who are going to be referring clients to you, who are your best kind of inquiry. So let me tell you this story. So I do a lot of work with a really lovely architect who I have built a really strong relationship with over the years. And it's a great working relationship. We know each other's styles, we know how each other work, and all the projects I do with her and her team are always so much fun. And she sent me some client details that they were looking for an interior designer to come on. And it was a big project. It would have been one of the bigger projects I'd worked on, but it was really, really exciting. And I know that a lot of designers would look at this scope of works and almost freeze a little bit and go, oh my goodness, it's such a big project. I'm not really sure what to do, or I'm going to discount my fee because it's such a great project and I really want to get it, and all of that kind of stuff. And not just that part of it, but that they would also take a really long time to go through this process of putting together a fee proposal and meeting the client and all that kind of stuff. And that to me is it's an area that I work with so many people with in their health check, but also so many people who do my course, The Process, who are amazed at how much time they don't need to spend on client onboarding. So for those of you who haven't done my course, and I encourage you to if you don't feel confident in your process around this, is when I get an inquiry, whether it be a referral from someone who I know, like this architect, or a referral off my website, or a friend who has a friend who they've recommended me to, they all go through the same process. It doesn't matter who they are or where they've come from. They go through the same process, and they start at the beginning, because if they don't, then they're going to miss out on some crucial information. And so what happens is the first step is that I send them an introductory email introducing myself, and attached to that email, I have my studio portfolio. And if you've listened to my episode on the studio portfolio and why I think it's so important, this studio portfolio is a document that is your visual way of explaining what your process is. It is so much more than just pretty pictures. It is about showing the value that you bring to a project through imagery and storytelling. And so the client goes through, gets this email, and I set up an initial call with them to have a chat, introduce myself, and find out a little bit about their project. Now, in this scenario, I brought together two of the stages. So it was a major renovation, and I had already seen the plans. The architect had provided them to me. So I knew the plans and the scope of the project before I had met with the client. And so my normal process is that I would have a quick 15-minute kind of introductory call, get to know them, find out a little bit about the information. I would then send them a document, which I call the process, which shows them in detail the process that I follow for all of my projects. And then I would have an on-site meeting with them, or a Zoom call to talk through their project. Now, because as I said, I knew the client, or I had the background on the client, I didn't need to do that initial 15-minute call, because I already really had that from the information the architect had given me. And this helps highlight my point around having those strong B2B referral partners. They are going to help you condense your processes and reduce the amount of time that you need to spend on taking someone from inquiry through to signed contract. Because the architect knew exactly who I liked working with, they knew the types of projects I like working with, who my ideal client is, I didn't need to go through that process of finding out if this client was going to be right for me. And so for me, that just really highlights why, if you are not building strong relationships with your B2B partners, you really are missing out on some key business opportunities. So the process then goes that they actually get sent a document that highlights the process, and also we set up a video call, a Zoom meeting, so that I can meet them and chat through the project in a little bit more detail, fill in some of the gaps from the information the architect has given me. Now, this whole process takes about half an hour. I'm not spending hours creating new documents to send to them. I am clear and confident on the information that I am sending to the client. I am able to do it in a timely manner, which means it's not taking up, headspace going, oh, I've got to get back to those people, or I've got to do that. This is the first time that you're interacting with these people, and being able to have confidence in the systems that you have, confidence in the documents that you have. You are already showing these potential clients that you are an authority in the space. You are going to bring value to their project, and you are a person that will make their life easier. You are already building that like, know, and trust factor through being able to get back to them quickly and with strong documentation. So once I've had this call with them and it's all great kind of thing, and I'm building that rapport and it's wonderful, I put together my fee proposal, and it is quite a large fee proposal, as you can imagine, for it was a 5-bedroom house, multiple bathrooms, major renovation. I'm able to do that part also really quickly because I have my fee calculator that I can pop the data that I know I've got from previous projects of similar size and scope into that fee calculator. So once again, this is not taking me a long time to do. I am easily able to send out the fee proposal to them within a couple of days of that call, which means that I'm not leaving them wondering where that information is. I'm not having them having to follow me up to see where that information is or where that fee proposal is. And I'm showing that I know what I'm talking about because I can just get it out to them. And once again, it comes back to I am not taking up emotional energy or mind space because that task is done. And in that email that I'm sending out when I'm sending my fee proposal, which I've got back to them in a timely manner, I am also setting up a quick call to go through any questions they might have about the fee proposal. Now, this is also, it is done within a few days based on their schedule and my schedule, and it is 15, 20 minutes. It's not long. I answer any of their questions, any objections that they might have, queries, and once again, I'm building that like, know, and trust factor. Once again, I am showing that I'm an authority in this space and that I am going to bring real, tangible value to their project. I'm able to answer their questions around design pricing or trade pricing and how that works. I'm able to answer questions and queries around timeline that they might have. So having that quick call about 3 or 4 days after I've sent the fee proposal out really allows me to kind of, pull together any of those threads or questions they might have had. The other thing that came from that call was they were able to tell me when they would be making their decision. I wasn't left hanging wondering, I wonder when I'm going to hear from them, or will I, need to send them a follow-up email. Because we had that clear, concise conversation and information was exchanged both from them and from me, I was able to know, great, I know I'm going to have a decision from them by the start of next week. There was no wondering. There was no, playing with my confidence because I was like, I haven't heard from them. So having that clear and concise communication with them from the very start, yes, it helps them, but it also will help you. So what was the outcome? Well, I didn't actually get the job. And I'm okay with that because it wasn't because my fees was too expensive. It wasn't because they didn't like me. It wasn't because they didn't think I was able to do a good job. In the end, it came down to the fact that they had a family member who was also an interior designer. And for a whole heap of different reasons, they went with them. And that's okay. But how do I know that it wasn't because my fee was wrong or because they didn't like me? It's because I asked for feedback. And this is something that so many designers do not do. And I get that it's a little bit awkward, but one of the absolute best things you can do is if you miss out on a project, ask for feedback as to why. If I hadn't asked for feedback, I most probably would have thought, oh gosh, my fee was just too high. And the next time I get an inquiry around that point, I'll just drop my fee by a significant amount. Or I might have thought, oh, they might not like me, or my process isn't right. But it was none of that. I just wasn't quite right for their project because they had some other conditions that met them better. But I couldn't ask for feedback if I hadn't already created that rapport, had already built that like, know, and trust factor with them. So if you are unclear on your process when it comes to taking a client from that initial inquiry through to signed contract, I really encourage you to sit and think about how you need to improve that process. What are the documents that you are sending out? What are the email scripts that you are using? This time in a project when you are, you have your salesperson hat on, you're not really interior designer, salesperson hat on, and you are showing these potential clients the value that you bring, you're building that like, know, and trust factor, and you are showing that you're an authority in the space. If you are doing that throughout the whole process, when you get to the point when they're making their decision, a couple of things will either happen. One, you'll get the job, and that's amazing, and you'll do a great job because you're a great interior designer, and you will just build on all of those things that you have been that you showed in that period before they signed the contract. But if you don't get the project, by showing them who you are and building that like, know, and trust factor and building that rapport, you are then able to ask for feedback. And from that feedback, you will be able to improve. You will be able to maybe slightly tweak your process if that is the feedback that you are getting. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. And as I've mentioned, if you don't feel like you have this process down pat, I really encourage you to take the course, The Process, which takes you from that initial inquiry through to signed contract. In the course, you get templates to documents, you get templates for email scripts, and it's a really step-by-step guide as to what you should do to be showing these potential clients who you are, what your process is, and why you are going to bring so much value to your project. I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I will see you for our next Design Dialogue. Thank you for listening to this Design Dialogue. I hope you have found it full of inspiration and helpful information to take into your design studio. If you like the podcast and want to hear more, consider sharing it or writing a review, as it helps us reach more people, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. If you would like to unlock the power of effortless studio management and elevate your design business to new heights, please follow the links in our show notes to see how more time to design can help you build a better business. Have a great week, and I will see you for our next Design Dialogue.